Hello, all you beautiful people, and welcome back to Easy Way of Life. You're joining me here in my backyard, under my back porch, because it is raining for the first time here in Washington, and this has been like 6 weeks of sun and hot weather, and we finally got some rain, so I'm not out riding today. But as you can see here, I have a gift box from eevee's, and it is about the Veteran Sherman S. So one thing I want to note real quick before we get into that box here is these pedals, when they fold down, there's a little space. This comes up, and there's this bar here on both sides. And if you crash this thing off-roading, like I've done a couple of times now, if anything gets wedged between the pedal and that little square bar thing that's kind of the stop for the pedal, you cannot open those pedals. I crashed in some sandy, gritty, fine rock gravel stuff, and the wheel fell over as it was on a hill, so as the pedal was closing, that sand kind of like ran down into it, and once I lifted the wheel and righted it, I couldn't get that pedal back open. There was so much stuff crammed between the flat part of the pedal and that little bracket piece that sticks out that it couldn't open. I sat there and grabbed by this part and just wiggled. I mean, there was like this much space between the wheel and the pedal, and I was just forcefully jiggling it back and forth until the stuff slowly started to fall out and I was able to get it open. But the horrible crunching sounds it made, I was not comfortable with. But just food for thought. If you crash this off-roading, there is potential that your pedal might get stuck closed. Alright, so the box here. This is a V3 Veteran Sherman S. I've had absolutely zero problems with it. However, Leaperkim is awesome, and they send out a upgrade kit that upgrades your prior wheels, whether it's a 1, 2, 3, into a version 4 is what this kit I believe should be. We'll get into that, but again, I've had no issues with this. So when I was told about this, I was in no rush to get it. So when it eventually got here, I figured I'd let you guys in on it. A bunch of people already know, but we'll get into it anyways. For the wheel itself, you know, a lot of people have complained about the pedals. I made mention of this. I think it's a really cool idea. However, they did completely do away with those pedals. So there is a new style pedal. Fun from eevee's. And this is the greatest thing ever, guys. I have been seeing the mini wheels on Facebook Place all over on the groups, and I've been wanting to get one, and I haven't gave in and ordered one yet. And eevee's send me out a free one with the package here for upgrading my Sherman to the V4 style, which we'll get into. But look at this little guy. Look how freaking cool. Got the little eevee's logo on both sides. The pedals actually fold down. They have to have some kind of crazy 3D scanner or something to be doing these, the M104, the S20, this wheel, and a couple others, because that thing, I mean, if you look at it, it is pretty freaking spot on. And to do the little tiny accents like the tail light and the headlights and the little display is even cooler. And the tire here is actually printed out of like a TPU or a TPE, so it is rubbery. So you kind of use it like a little tech deck, which is friggin' sweet. I mean, it doesn't have suspension, but hey, it's pretty rad. And the cooler thing is it came with a little eevee's stand, so you could park your little mini EUC in your garage with the rest of them. Came with a little spare logo. Might throw this bad boy on my Sherman itself, but super stoked about this. So big shout out to eevee's for sending this out, no charge, and big shout out to eevee's for sending me one of these, because I wanted one for quite some time, and now I have one, so I'm quite happy. I'm like a little child. It's unbelievable. This is the newer style pedal that the V4s should come with. It is, gosh, I would say about the same size. It looks like it might be a little bit wider, just a very, very smidge wider. And from the looks of it here, glad we're not in ASMR, that might be blowing your guys' ears out. The spikes are made into the pedals, so they are non-adjustable spikes. Begode is really owning the market when it comes to pedals and the pedals that come with these newer wheels. I mean, having the spikes that they come with and them removable, adjustable, replaceable is pretty slick. So these are obviously protruding up over the entire pedal itself, so they're going to be way, way better than these ones, which were a lot more rounded, I would say, and kind of sit down within the lip, which a lot of people complained about. I've only had issues when my feet were wet of sliding around on these pedals, and I have off-roaded this thing a bunch, and I have not complained about those pedals yet. I do wish they stayed out at their extensions, but it is what it is. So you get two of the pedals, obviously, one for each side, pretty well packed. You get a new seat here. I could go grab you guys the other one. I should have grabbed it for the video, but it looks exactly identical. It's funny that this part here is the front and it goes up and the back does not. Typically you want your taper the opposite direction so you have better leverage over the wheel. So in this case you would want it this way. So your back is higher than your front to give you that better leverage. So having the front with more cushion, I don't know who's got a giant package that needs that cushion, but hey, that's cool. Bunch of hardware for the pedals. I have been really curious about taking the pedals apart because it's a very unique design in there with like a spring and a hex head screw and a nut that does the tension on the pedal when you open and close it. So I will do a video on replacing these components, but I am pretty excited that it did come with extra hardware. I don't know if the hardware is universal from those pedals to these pedals. I'm assuming since the pedal hanger is the same, that the hardware is the same, but either way, you get new hardware. This right here is the flat spot I'm talking about for reference. The little block sticks out right there, and this flat spot there. So when the pedal's up like that, it's really easy to get stuff crammed in there, and it's really difficult to get the pedal open. This is the new trolley handle. Obviously I don't have it on yet, so I can't test its rigidity. It feels like it's got some more girth and weight to it. The design is only slightly different, and I could show you that here in a second. However, this is supposed to be a lot more rigid and less flexy bendy than the original one that's on the wheel here. Again, I have trolleyed this wheel downstairs, up a couple of stairs, off-roading, you know, through grass or pastures or gravel, and I've never had an issue with that trolley handle. It does flex quite a bit, and it seems a little scary and unstable, but with the hundreds and hundreds of miles I have on this wheel already, it hasn't had any problems. So when you lift the handle up here, this is the part you grab onto, which, as you can see, is kind of an odd thing to grab onto while you're trying to trolley it, and it's rounded and a little sharp here, so even kind of like trying to palm it is not comfortable. And the new one here, if you were to set it back to back, actually has like a cool grippy handle. It's about the same width. It looks like it's not going to take up much more room than the original, but it has a nice girthy handle, and this feels solid. So again, it might still have a little flex because it is plastic. If you look at it, it does look basically the same, other than that rear grab point is different, but this is supposed to be a more rigid, thicker, better supported. Look underneath those cross braces, same cross braces, but better handle. So I'll keep you guys updated on that as we go through it. There is a rod in the box. I know people have questioned what this rod is for, and it's really cool of Leaperkim to actually provide this, because as we know, dealing with Begode pedals and other Kingsong pedals is very difficult to get the rods out once the wheel has been ridden a lot, especially through dusty, dirty trails or any kind of moisture. This rod is to push the pedal rods out. So good thing you'd stick on there, use a mallet or a hammer or something and push those rods all the way through. It's more than long enough to ream it all the way through. So pretty cool they give you that. It'll probably work on a lot of other wheels too, so handy to keep it around. As I mentioned before, the beeper on this thing is incredibly stupid loud, and you cannot adjust how loud it is. They provided a new beeper. So I believe it's just a little piezoelectric tweeter in there, but I see the gold diaphragm in there. And this one, I don't know if you guys can see it. I can't. You got a better angle than I just did. But I'm wondering if that is like a little plate that they stuck in there to help reduce the amount of sound. I'm not really sure, but I will also keep you updated on this. Again, I didn't look into what this package was and why it was sent out. I just know it's an upgrade package to fix problems that people were having with the older generations of this wheel. So I'm really hoping this is a quieter speaker, and if it is the same speaker, then I'm probably just going to end up putting electrical tape or something over it because it is very, very loud. Or maybe like a 3D print, you know, a TPU cover that'll slide over it with less holes so it's not as loud. Not really sure. We'll get to that eventually. This is the new cover. I believe it goes outside the suspension here. I believe that said Fast Ace. I'm not ripping my Velcro off for you guys. I apologize, but I'm not doing it. But I believe this cover is for that part of the suspension. I don't know exactly what this is for. If anybody knows, drop a comment below as to why they're providing these. I have a feeling it probably has to do with some kind of tolerances and clamping the suspension better, because there is no seals or anything on this. So I don't believe it has to do with, you know, preventing the suspension from leaking or anything, but it probably has to do with holding that suspension better and not allowing any kind of play. The original ones are bright red. They're like the same anodized red, and they're really cool. They really stand out, but most of us throw Velcro on the wheel, so it doesn't matter that much. The black kind of matches the wheel better. However, I do like the originals that were the Fast Ace red. So that is everything in the box. If you did get your wheel from eevees, you might end up with a cool little baby Sherman S in your package with the cool little stand. And if you didn't get your wheel from eevees, you should still be able to get this upgrade kit with the parts at no charge. It's something that Leaperkim was providing to all of the dealers for anybody that had a previous generation wheel. So if you don't know about it, you do now. If your dealer hasn't offered it to you, they should be able to at no charge. I will keep you guys updated on how much I like the pedals. I'll probably actually just put one on the wheel so I could give good reference between each side and how they feel. I don't know if I'm going to put these on or not. We will see. I haven't had any weird issues with this wheel as far as clanking from the suspension or anything feeling loose. So if it's needed, I will replace it. If it's kind of recommended but not required, I might just leave it off for now. And I will update you guys if the beeper is quieter and if the trolley handle is actually stiffer. So cool package. Cool package. I already said that, but the video died, so back at it. So big shout out to eevees for getting the package out. You know, big shout out to Leaperkim for stepping up and sending out the upgrade package. That is just awesome and wonderful for them, and awesome little wheel. So I do make the bumpers here, my puzzle bumpers, and I do have the bungee seat here, which this does fit a couple of wheels. It does fit the Sherman S. There's a slightly smaller version that fits the Patton. That's all up on my Etsy, so if you guys are looking for a few things to protect or make your Sherman better, do support a good cause. My Etsy is down in the description below, as well as a direct link to eevee's site. But again, if you ordered your wheel from another dealer, you should be able to get the upgrade package as well. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will do a video of adding the parts to this wheel. As I said, I'll just do one pedal so I could keep you guys updated on how big of a difference it is between the two. And as always, I hope you all have a beautiful day. You beautiful people.